Hoops through life. Hoops through life.
Welcome to another episode of Hoops Through Life, a podcast where we discuss everything related to women's basketball player development, the collegiate recruiting process, and transition from high school to college. I'm your host, Elspeth Bierman. Our guest today is Kuartez James. Kuartez is a program coordinator working with adults with autism, a licensed behavior technician, a published author, a national speaker, and the founder of Recruit University. Kuartez has nearly 2 decades of coaching and leadership experience at the youth and high school levels. Through Recruit University, he has helped hundreds of student athletes earn millions in scholarships and opportunities at all levels, including NCAA Division I, II, III, JUCO, and NAIA. He prides himself on his personalized mentorship for families and on building direct relationships with college coaches. Kuartez, thank you so much for being here.
Okay, my pleasure.
All right, so just to get started, tell us a little bit about your background. What led you to start Recruit University?
Well, let's start with my background. So I'm an educator. I started off going to school for computer coding, and I hated it. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to coach football. That's all I wanted to do was coach football. But I went to school to do coding, and when I got into the real world, I realized it wasn't for me. So I went back to school to be an educator. And the biggest part of that was the transition from high school to college and adulthood. It's probably the most difficult part of anybody's life, and I wanted to help young people. I wanted to help, most importantly, young people from my hometown get over that hump and get to college, because there was a lot of people in my hometown that I looked up to, and they were very talented, but they weren't getting any opportunities.
When you say that transition piece is so hard for young people, what have you identified in your experience that is so hard in that transition piece?
The transition piece. Okay, so the difficult part of transitioning, I think, is, I would say, reality. I hate the word be realistic, but I think that our goals and dreams are limited to other people's reality and not necessarily what is truly capable, because there are so many people saying you can't do it, or it's not possible, or try something more realistic. And that holds people back from actually trying and getting out there or leaving their hometown and trying to do new things or something different.
Yeah, I love that you say that. And I remember maybe a year ago, before we first connected and talked, I was looking on the Recruit University website, and I think I came across one of your handouts that you have, and it's really a reflective process on what do you actually want. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to give young people, even just to start that process of thinking that way. And what have you gotten any feedback on that particular exercise? I know it changes, like a ninth grader doing that versus a 12th grader versus a sophomore in college. You'll probably get very different results. But I guess the question is, have you gotten any feedback that has been helpful for student athletes? What have they told you?
Absolutely, because I don't look at it as just a student athlete, because that's temporary. I look at it as a young man or woman, as a whole person. Like, what are you going to do the next 20, 30 years? And then reverse engineer it, work backwards to get to what's the next step. Because like we're all dreamers. We all said we wanted to grow up, go play in the professional leagues, make all this money, and then think that's the way it's going to be. But I like to do that exercise because I want my students to know what's the next step. How much money do you need to make to live the lifestyle that you want to live? And once you know that, you have a better idea, a better understanding of what is your next step. And it could be different from the next person. It may not be to go to a D1 school. Maybe you may be good enough to go to a D2 or D3 or what have you. So yes, it's helped some people, because most of the individuals that I work with or come to me have no idea what they want to do, never even thought about it. They just want to continue their sport, and they're not thinking that far ahead. So it does help them have an idea of what to look for as far as career choice, major, and what school to go to.
And that's a perfect kind of segue into what the next question that I had was, what types of athletes, and you can speak about sport, you could speak about anything that goes under that category of like types of athletes, but what types of athletes generally reach out to you for help getting to that next level?
Mostly it's the parents. The athletes that reach out to me, they all want to go D1. Okay? Everybody wants to go D1. I ask them, why do you want to go D1? They don't know. They just want to go D1 because they've seen it on TV. Everybody wants to go play for that school that's in the national championship or uh, in March Madness. They want to go to those schools and they don't know why. They just see the colors. They know the brand recognition, and they forget about the schools who may not have the budget to advertise or market those same leagues. Um, so those people come to me, and then I also get the ones who wait until it's too late. So like I said, there's a lot of people giving a lot of bad advice, and they don't know who to listen to. So parents are listening to what's convenient, and then when the time comes to where okay, I got to do something right now, then they come to me and they try to uh, get me to make chicken salad out of chicken crack, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now your senior year and nobody's calling. Now you want to call and talk to me, but I told you the recruiting process starts day one of freshman year, right? I have people in my hometown that know what I've been doing. I've been doing this for 15, almost 20 years, and they don't call me until it's almost too late. Now they want to call me, and you know you've been watching me, and you know I do this, and now you're waiting till your son or daughter is getting to the point where they need somebody. And I told you, freshman year, day one, you need to be started on college recruiting. And that's the people I get, and it's frustrating to me because I want to see people succeed, but they got to want it for themselves, and that's the part that I have a hard time with. So, but I'm still able to help people, but it's not to get to where they wanted to go. They end up settling almost for something because it's almost too late.
Yeah, when you talk about maybe some of the bad advice or the maybe well-intentioned but not very well known
Mm-hmm.
advice, what are some of those red flag things that parents can look out for as they're getting information? I mean, information is everywhere, right? So what
Yeah.
are some of those things that they can look out for as they're trying to figure this out maybe on
Mm-hmm.
their own?
As a parent, I would say don't listen to someone who hasn't done it. Right? Listen to someone who has helped somebody get to college. Now, everybody's afraid of getting scammed or uh, cheated out of their money, right? That's the easy route. Like, oh, somebody will say, oh, you don't have to pay somebody to help you. Well, you pay somebody to help you with everything. You pay somebody to help you with your taxes, but you don't have to do that either. You pay somebody to cut your grass. You pay DoorDash or Uber. You can drive yourself. So don't sit there and get scared about, oh, I don't have to pay to do this. Pay somebody who's an expert because if you don't pay, you're going to get what you pay for, and you might not get where you want to go. People pay for an expensive lawyer because it's serious. To me, your college career is very valuable. Your student's college career. Some people are going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school. Why not invest a little bit of money to get somebody who knows what they're doing, an expert in something you have no idea of the capacity of, to help your son or daughter get to the next level? Like you may assume that you know, but you have no idea how difficult this recruiting process is, and it's different for every person. Um, I've also had people who look at, oh, well, the coach says this or the coach says that. Here's the fun fact: just because you're a coach does not mean you are an expert when it comes to recruiting. A coach coaches their team. That's it. They may be a teacher too. So guess what? They're going to be doing lesson plans. They're going to be grading papers. That doesn't mean they're talking to college coaches. They just coach the team. That does not make them an expert. So I do caution people not to just always run to the coach. And sometimes, believe it or not, the coach does not always have everyone's best interest at heart.
I know that I found this out years later after
Mm-hmm.
I was out of college. I found out that one of my coaches for AAU, it was a new coach, and a college coach had reached out about me, inquiring about like what my interests are, where am I thinking about going. And instead of answering questions about me, they were pushing the kids they brought into the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a trusted coach came to me afterwards and said that because he had a very good relationship with that specific coach. And he said they had a private conversation, and that college coach was like, I can't believe that guy did that. That he
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I was asking him a very specific question about a specific athlete and didn't even answer me and tried to push the other kids onto me in my program. So and you may not find out till years later, and hopefully that is a rare case, right? I hope that doesn't happen all the time, but you really never know, and you're raising your eyebrows, so
Yeah.
maybe it happens more often than I would like to think.
Say it does.
Yeah.
I got some stories because I thought it was just in my hometown. I mean, when I got started, That's what it was. It was just the coaches were not interested in anything other than the season. After their season was over, they could care less about you. Were just another person on the team helping them win games. But after it was over, there was no genuine interest in the actual person. And that's the difference between me and a lot of other people. I care about the people. And I thought it was just my hometown, but the more I did this, the more people that came to me for help, the more I realized this was a big deal. I had one individual in Louisiana. I've never been there, but coach, I just did a common courtesy to talk to the coach on the phone, and he chewed me out. Like, don't mess with these people. Leave them alone. He's not good enough. I got friends in college that are college coaches who said he's not good enough. Leave him alone. I'm like, why not try? This is a kid that played for you. He plays both sides of the ball. He's all state, but you're saying he's not good enough to go to college, but he's good enough for you. Like, there's several stories. I had an AAU basketball situation where actually it was high school basketball, where there was a new coach that came in, and my player didn't get any playing time with this new coach. He played with the old coach, and now the new coach came in and didn't play him. So we had to find other routes for him. So we got him on an AAU team to get film because that was very important. And then I got him some tryouts at some D2 schools, and he did great. They got him some offers, but guess what? The coaches did their due diligence. Called the high school coach. High school coach said a bunch of bad things about him, as far as he's not good enough, he doesn't play, and pull the plug. So it just baffles me that there's people out there who don't have the best interest of their players. So if you're a parent listening to this, you need to make sure that whoever you're listening to has the true best interest, like genuine interest of your son or daughter, because this is a major decision. You don't stay that age forever. Once the window closes, it's closed for good.
What are some maybe questions a parent can ask or things to look out for
Mm-hmm.
to try to assess if that coach does have the best interest of their child at heart?
Sure. You can just have them be honest. Like, hey, can you sit down and look at the film? What schools are you in contact with? Do you have a network? Just ask simple, like small questions like that, just to get an understanding if they're even knowledgeable about the recruiting process. How many people have you helped? Should I go to this school or that school? What should I say? Like just small things. Asking about the NCAA eligibility center. Like little questions like that would just let you know if your coach knows about the process. Because if you're a good coach and a good person, you have some kind of idea, like everything that's on my recruiting checklist, they would all just be proactive and give it to every player. Like you need to sign up for the eligibility center before you can even do anything. Everybody needs to do it. Just do it. Right. So if your coach is not doing that or having those conversations with you, don't just go up to them. You need to do your homework and come to me or somebody like me.
Well, I know that you have a huge Facebook group,
Yes.
and there's a ton of parents from uh, all different sports.
Mm-hmm.
Parents of male athletes, parents of female athletes across the board, and there's a lot of activity in that group. So like that's a community, right? And it's led by
Yes.
somebody who has experience and who goes on there regularly and sees what types of posts that there are. How can parents maybe leverage groups like that to their advantage?
I would say just be active and just ask the questions. It's called College Recruiting Advice for Parents of High School Student Athletes. Pretty plain and simple, easy to find. Just join the group, and just ask the question, and I'll try to get it answered. And if I don't get it answered, there's plenty of other parents or other experts who would answer the question. And that's the best route to go is just to ask, because closed mouths don't get fed. Um,
That's right.
yeah, if you have a question, just ask it. We'll
And
try to help you out.
yeah, with athletes and parents, what do you see like when you start to work with an athlete individually? What are the things that you're seeing are like gaps in knowledge between a lot
Absolutely.
of different athletes?
So here's what I'm learning. Before I used to do a lot of the work on my own, um, but now I try to put the athlete and the parents to work too. Um, and I see that there's a lot of maturity. They're still kids, right? At the end of the day, they may be big in size. They're still kids, and they need that mentoring. They need that accountability. All those things. You need to sign up for this camp. You need to go do this. You need to do that. There's so much. I try to talk to them weekly so I can check on them, make sure they're doing what they need to do. But they're kids, right? And that's what you have to realize. Like they look big, they look like they're ready, but mentally they're not. Parents wise, they have no idea. They've never done it before. They've never been to that level. So there's a lot of coaching that goes on to it as far as a mentor. So I'm mentoring the athlete and the parents.
If you think of a specific athlete in your mind right now, like what types of things are you mentoring the athlete on, and what types of things are you mentoring the parents on?
Mentoring the athlete, um, again, accountability and consistency, just doing the right thing. There's and the parents too. They don't understand social media, the leverage, marketing yourself, branding yourself. This is a business, right? So I'm trying to teach them the business side of it. So that part is different. And it's also the part where it's not because they like you. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or you're a nice person. That part doesn't matter. This is a cutthroat business, and then someone else is competing for the same scholarship you're competing for. So they have to be proactive and they have to do things and they have to follow up. All those different things are things that I am coaching both the parent and the athlete on. The athlete, I'll check in, make sure they're active on Twitter with their videos, things like that. Check on them on their grades and their sports performance training, all the little things, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just show up on game day and play, or don't just show up to whatever your high school coach is leading and play. There's a lot more you have to do to separate yourself from the hundreds of thousands of others who are competing for the same position that you are.
So if you think about maybe some of the athletes that you've helped and have really embraced that idea
Mm-hmm.
of, or maybe yeah, they've really embraced the idea of like they need to do things on their own, they need to be proactive. I feel like this is such a silly question, but I feel like it's good to say out loud. And versus the athletes who you check up on them, maybe they don't text you back right away, maybe it takes them a few days, maybe it takes them a few weeks, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like how do their processes differ as they continue to talk to coaches or try to put themselves out there? Like how
Absolutely.
that those two athletes, how are they different?
That's a good question. The more they talk to me, the more confident they get in talking to an adult, talking to a grown up. Because they most of the time they don't know me until we start the process, but it's real cut and dry. Yes sir, no sir. They don't really ask questions. They just wait for you to ask all the questions. But as we go along each week, they get more comfortable. They start asking me more questions and come up with ideas on their own too, um, and they start to be more active. But it's a process. They have to learn how to talk to an adult, and also the parents have to allow the son or daughter who are children right now to be the adult, to look up information, to learn where the student resource center is or academic advisor. Call those places, call the financial aid department, let the student do it. We coach them to do those things because once you get in college, it's a different world, right? You're not going to have guidance counselors chasing you down or coaches chasing you down. You got to do what you need to do. Another one, a good one, a specific example, I had a parent who was used to Pop Warner football or high school football where they could just do whatever. Their son is a star player, so a star player for like the youth team, they can do whatever they want. They're it. Once he got to college, it was a whole different animal. She hope she's not watching me, but I'm not gonna call her out. But he went on spring break and she missed him and she did not take him back when he was supposed to be back for training, and he got into a world of trouble, lost his starting position. Oh man, he almost lost his scholarship because she didn't take him back. She was like, "You can just stay home another week. It's fine. It's just spring break. It's just a little bit of weightlifting, a little bit of film he's missing. You can't do that. This is a business. If you're doing that, it's like keeping him away from his job. And what happens if you don't go to work? You're gonna get fired. This is a business. This is a multi-million-dollar business. You can't keep your baby home. He's got to go to work. He's a man now, and that happened, and that's reality. I had one parent in the Facebook group. Again, mind you, I have almost 20 years of experience. This lady, she sent something in the Facebook group about wanting her son to go play at Auburn. He is a senior now, get ready to graduate in a couple months, and I'm like, man, he's not going to go to Auburn. It's too late. She's like, oh, it's not too late. He's got time. No, well, he's about to be a senior actually.
Mm.
But I'm like, Auburn's already knows who they want. They have their list. They're already on to the next year. It doesn't matter how good he is. It's too late. So, oh, he's got time. It's okay. I said, okay, you know better than me. But they don't understand the business side. They don't understand the coach's perspective. Like the coach has to win games or they're going to lose their job. They don't understand that part. They don't understand that, okay, I have to recruit. I have my guys this year, and now I got to recruit the next year. And now I got to, it's competitive. They just think, oh, my baby's good for this school. He's going to be good for the school on TV too. Everybody's going to want him. I don't know.
Yeah, I as you were talking, it gave me an idea of like it might be helpful for parents to even just watch a video or something of just the way college athletics works.
Hmm.
Because it when I was in high school, I had no concept of what an athletic department looked like. Right? Even when in like the calendar year and the recruiting cycles, like it wasn't until I was a grad assistant, honestly, like a grad assistant where I was going and then started coaching in college, did I realize really what this process actually looks like. And so, yeah, that just made me think that that would be a good video, even just 5-10 minutes of just how how a coaching staff works, how an athletic department works. And because then that might give them a concept of, oh, we do actually need to start right away because at this level, at this high level, they're looking 2 years in advance. Then don't even talk about the transfer portal,
Right.
right? So it's
Yeah, oh
like,
yeah.
if I think my kid is good enough, they have to be good enough in ninth grade,
Hmm.
in 10th grade. Not, it doesn't matter necessarily. I mean, sure, 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of, whatever can be picked up, maybe their junior or senior year, but that's not the norm. And sometimes I think we think that we can defy the norm, but like, no,
Yeah.
the more often than not, if you're not being seen ninth grade, 10th grade, it's probably not going to happen at those high levels.
Well, yes and no, right? So, um, you're not going to be seen. That's a good one because that's in my book that I wrote back in 2018, 2019. I can't remember. Recruiting 101, a guide to being recruited for college sports. That was my number one recruiting myth is like people think that if you're good enough, they'll find you. So the reason why I've been able to be successful is because I'm proactive. I go to where the coaches are. I'm like, look at this guy. Look at him. Did you look at him yet? Did you look at him? Hey, did you look at this video? I would get on these coaches' nerves where they're going to answer me. I'm going to. Some people say, well, if they don't email you back, then it means they don't want you. That's not true either. Like, get on the phone, call them, email them over and over again. I'll go knock on the door. I'll go on campus and go and say, hey, coach here, I'm going to go find out if you looked at my guy, and we're going to make sure we're seen because then you can tell me, hey, at least you can say no, he's no good, or he is. Oh, I do want him. Most of the time when I did that, they had never even looked at the emails or the film. It was until I got on the phone with them. They said, "Oh, what's his name again?" But you got to be proactive here.
Yeah, it sounds like that's your main thing is just being proactive. What
Hmm.
are and again, like you said, reaching out, email, phone calls, even going on campus, knocking on a
Yep.
door, right? Like all of that are proactive steps. Is there anything else you can think of in terms of proactive steps that a parent or their athlete can do?
Yeah. Just realize that these coaches are human. They're people. Um, the hardest thing, and maybe I'm numb to it because I've been in so many different rooms with so many top level people where it doesn't bother me to talk to a coach. I'm not scared to talk to them, but they're like, "What do I say? Is there an email template? What do I write?" Just talk to them. We're regular people, and all you got to do is send them your film. Hey, can you look at this film? That's it. You don't have to have a special wording, a special resume. Coaches are simple creatures. We just want to watch the film. That's all we want to do. Are grades good enough? That's another one. That's the only statistic that the coaches care about. They don't want to see how many yards you ran, how many points you scored, how many assists. And the reason why, like those numbers are cute, but they're not something that we can actually compare in real time because like who did you go against? What schools did you play for? You know what I mean? If you go play against a Pop Warner team, anybody can take my Clark numbers. If you're going against the best of the best, then it makes sense. But the film doesn't lie. So the coaches want to see the film. So don't come at me with no stats except for the GPA. That's the only one we really care about. But just they're human. Just talk to them. Don't be scared to say, what do I say? What do I say? Say my name is this. I go to this school, and here's my film. Tell me what you think. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I've interviewed a bunch of different coaches and just like on the point of they're humans, right?
Yeah.
Is generally if you're reaching out to a coach for the first time and you have some film on there, they're not reading your email. They're
Right.
maybe checking your height. This is specific for basketball. They're maybe
Yeah.
checking your
Yeah.
height,
Size matters.
you saw your GPA, and then they click the film. If they like
Hmm.
it, they'll read the email. If they don't like it, they're not going to read the email
Right.
because it doesn't matter. They want to be efficient with their time too, right?
Sure. So I'm glad you mentioned about efficiency with time. Another thing is with the film. they're going to watch like the first 15, 20 seconds before they decide either they're going to keep watching it or they're going to throw it away. So when you're making your film, it doesn't have to be chronological order. It doesn't don't put all these different graphics and all this other stuff. It's just like going to the movies and you watch the previews to a movie. When you watch the previews that are very short, you decide, oh, I'm going to go see that movie, or you be like, I'll pass. It's the same thing with this film because coaches are looking at hundreds of thousands of other players' film, so they're going to watch 15 seconds or 20 seconds, and if they're excited, they'll watch it again or watch it to the end. But most times they're not watching your film to the end, so don't put too much uh, thought into it. Just put your best plays first and go from there.
Yeah, 100%. Why do you think some of the parents don't reach out to you until it's like, oh my gosh, it's too
Yeah,
late?
they don't reach out to me until it's too late because they're desperate. Um, or they got some bad advice. Um, like I said, there's other parent people out there, maybe a booster who's got a lot of money or kids and all these different things, or a coach who gives these people bad advice. Like I told you, the recruiting miss, like some people say, um, if they're good enough, they'll find you is the absolute worst. I hate it with a passion. There's that one. There's other ones where they'll say, don't go to this camp or don't go to that camp. There's just a lot of bad information. Or there's certain showcases they sign up for. You got to be careful with those showcases and things like that. But you want to be seen, and that's the goal. You want to be seen by these coaches, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the end goal. But yeah, I think people get some bad advice, um, and they don't know how serious it is. Like again, I will say this: I have family members, I have specific family member, and I hope he's watching, because I told him, and they know this. They've been behind me 100%, but their kid isn't working with me for some reason. He's going into his sophomore year, so he's already late, right? Because I said day one freshman year he needs to be getting ready for college recruiting. Hasn't talked to me yet. He's a varsity basketball player, and as a freshman, going into his sophomore year, and hasn't said a word to me yet about college. But they want to go to college though. So hey, what do I know?
Yeah, and I'll say this too. Knowing trusted, like you said, getting good advice, right? Knowing
Mm-hmm,
trusted people. Let's say a parent is really like, I don't want to pay someone for this, right?
mm-hmm,
Then you have to position yourself in the best spaces where the best information is.
mm-hmm,
So I would recommend, if you really don't want to pay for somebody, like going to the Facebook group like yours is a great place to start. And then I would really encourage you to dig through there, ask questions, and if you feel overwhelmed, just reach out to you, right? Like, because it's not going to hurt just to have a conversation.
yeah, it's free. It's free to join the Facebook group. It's
Yeah.
free to ask a question. Yes, that's correct. So if you're worried about calls or you don't know the questions I ask, you can ask other parents in the group as well. But speaking about paying for, right? I like to say invest because
Yeah.
this is an investment into your future, and not only getting an expert in your corner, like a recruiting expert, you need to be investing in your body as well. You need to be doing the sports performance. I think that is something that when I moved to Houston, it really opened my eyes. Right, so there are tons of sports performance facilities. I have one of my friends has a great training center, and I saw individuals go in there who had just went to camp or just got done with practice, and they're in there working. That's a huge difference. Where other places they just do whatever the coach tells them to do, and that's all. You got to do more than that. So invest in sports performance training because you want to do that for when you're competing at a high level. You want to get faster, you want to get stronger, you want to get bigger, but also for injury protection, right? So you don't injury prevention and recovery. There's different things you can do to improve yourself. You always want to get better. You always want to be improving yourself. So you have to invest in all the tools you need to get to where you want to go. So look at the people who are gone to where you want to go and ask them did they do or what are they doing, and just do that.
It's very simple, but it's not always easy. And I
Mm-hmm.
find a lot of times, like you said at the beginning, you did a lot of the phone calls, you did a lot of that proactive stuff, but over time, you've realized, no, I need to put a lot more of that on the athletes, more of that on the families, because like you said, as soon as they get to college, they're going to have to be an advocate for themselves. And so I think it's a really, in some ways, simple process. Be proactive, communicate with the coaches, show up when you say you're going to show up. But it's not always easy. And I think, so tell me what you think about this. I think that's a lot of times because we want somebody to do the work for us.
Right. That's correct. That's a lot of stuff, right? That's
Yeah.
why I was doing everything. I was so exhausted. I was at full capacity, and I was only able to help so many people at a time. Now I'm able to help so many people because I'm truly in a mentoring coaching role versus doing all the work myself. So, but
Hmm.
it's work. It's work. And that's another thing about this recruiting process. People don't know how many hours go into it. So as a parent, right, and a coach, right. So coaches, like I said, coaches they have maybe depending on the sport. So basketball, you have about 15 players. Um, Football, 40 players. Whatever the sport is, they have to coach each player. They have to do the scheduling. They have to do, like schedule the transportation, and they have to make sure the laundry's done, the equipment, plan practice. They have to also with their teachers. They also have to do lesson plans and homework. They're doing multiple classes. Then they go home to their families. And teachers are underpaid. So guess what? Some of them are having second jobs, and you still expect them to be able to go out and recruit each have each one get recruited. I don't think so. There's a lot of work into it, and some parents are learning too now with the coaching that I'm doing in the group that it is a lot of work. They even don't have time to send film out or follow up every single day. Uh, it's a lot. People work, so you need an expert. No matter what anybody says, you need somebody in your corner to help if you're trying to get to where you want to go. Now, I will say there are the top 1%. You don't compare yourself to the top 1% who are quote unquote 5-star athletes, right? And I hate to say that because I don't believe in 5 stars or stars, period. Stars don't really mean anything, but it's a saying. There's a 5-star athlete. The ones that are getting recruited and getting hundreds of scholarships, that's not everybody, right? That's the exception. That's not the normal thing, right? Um, the normal ones, you got to fight for your spot. But there are some where the coaches are banging down the door, coming to every AAU event. They're not coming to see you. They're coming to see that one kid, right? And some people think that, oh well, they're coming to see him. Maybe they'll see me. That's not how it works. So you really, really got to make sure you're getting your name and lights. You're getting your video seen, and there's a strategic method to it. Also, I would say with the investment part, top producing companies, right? They pay money for advertising. Like you look on TV, you see Pepsi, McDonald's, Coke, Toyota, all those companies, they advertise. They spend money to be shown to you. Why do you think you can just sit back in your house and with your thumb on your phone and somebody's gonna knock at your door? You got to advertise as well. Get your kids' information out there. Get them on TikTok and Twitter and all those other things as well. Get somebody in your corner. You need somebody to help you.
Yeah, and the other thing I think is really good about having somebody else to help you is it really is a third party person. It's
Mm-hmm.
your it it's not their it's like it's not your child. That's
Right.
not who it is. You're not their coach. Your job isn't necessarily dependent on their performance in a season or whatever. You can and also with your football background, I'm sure you could also give helpful information like based off of the film that you watch too of like oh like you probably know oh, I think they might be able to go here or there, right? But I think it's also helpful to have a third party person who is invested obviously, but there's a little bit of distance between you and the athlete in terms of like emotional ties to their where they
Right.
go.
Yes, that's a great point. I try to say that like you see your baby from your own viewpoint. Like that's your baby. You know he's good or he's going to be whatever. He scored a touchdown. Like nobody can stop him. That's your baby. Of course you're going to see him as the best. But that's not the case. Coaches get to see so much film and they compare them based on what they want. And another thing too is people may not realize this. So if one school is recruiting you per se, that doesn't mean the school is actually recruiting. That means that coach likes you, right? So what happens is, all right, I got one coach that likes me from whatever school. He has to take that player that he likes to the meeting where there's 6 other coaches who are recruiting for the same position. They all bring their player that they like. Then they're going to put it up on the screen. They're all going to watch, and then they all have to fight for the guy that they want. And then if you're lucky enough, they're going to get that one guy. So just because you say, "Oh, this school's recruiting me," don't mean that school's recruiting. That one specific coach likes you, but he's got to convince his 5 other assistant coaches to pull the trigger on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah,
There's so many like a funnel, right? Like there's so
yeah,
many checkpoints that you kind of have to make it through. And so, yeah, being proactive is just kind of that first step and being persistent
exactly.
about what you want. All right, I have a final couple questions that I ask all the guests. What book or podcast would you recommend every young athlete read and why, or listen to?
I'm gonna have to self promote. read, read my book, Recruiting 101, a guide for recruiting for college sports. You can find it on Amazon. But I will say it's just a general background knowledge that you need to get started with the program. It's not all the answers. That book's coming, but it is a general. It will get you started, get you point you in the right direction on what you need to do to get recruited. So I would start there. Podcast wise, um, there's so many different podcasts that I like, and it's not necessarily sports related, but it is to help you as a person, an individual, and get you motivated, keep you going. One is the Secret to Success podcast with Eric Thomas. Highly recommend that. That just gets you in the right mindset and just keeps you motivated to know that you can do it because somebody else has done it. Somebody else is doing it. You can do it, and they are very transparent on there with not just their wins but their losses and just the whole total process. So that's something that I go by regularly, and yeah, so I suggest that.
All right, cool. And then I decided to change this last question on the fly. I think you can handle it. But if you could make one rule that all like parents and athletes, young parents and athletes as they're going through the recruiting process had to follow, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I would say just get started. That would be my number one rule. Don't wait. Get started as soon as you are eligible to get started. Now, there's not all this time that you think you have. Like before you know it, senior year will be here. The proms are up, graduations are up right now,
Yeah.
and yours will come before you know it. So get started now. If this is something that you truly want, why would you even think about waiting to be eligible and do the things you need to do? Why wait? If I have a chance to go in the door, I'm going in. I'm not going to go in last. I want to be the first in line. So I don't understand that mindset. So yeah, get started.
Yeah. What's the first little step that they can do to get started?
Yes, get eligible with the NCAA. So you need to go to eligibilitycenter.org and register with the NCAA Eligibility Center, get your ID, and it'll have on there what classes you're supposed to be taking um, to get to college. Because here's what happens, and I have this happen almost every single athlete. The freshman year, they screw it up because they had no idea what they're supposed to be doing. Nobody told them what they're supposed to do. So they don't take it seriously and they don't understand. Also, parents also, your GPA that they're calculating is for all 4 years. It's not just your senior year. So if you suck your freshman year and you goof off, you got to do extremely well the rest of the years to catch up. And that happens way too often because they don't know. They just get in there and they think it's still middle school. It's not. All 4 years count. And you know what else doesn't count? Gym class doesn't count. So if you got an A in gym, that does not go to your core GPA. Okay, so you need to get your high grades in your core classes, your math, sciences, social studies, and fine arts, things like that. So take freshman year seriously.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect little way to end it. So yeah, Cortez, I
Yeah,
really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. If you aren't already, I would highly recommend subscribing to the podcast so you can get updated once new episodes are dropped. If you're a fan of the show, go ahead and leave a review. It really helps spread the word to more athletes, parents, and coaches. Now, if you have any questions for myself or future guests, feedback, or you're curious on how we can work together to help you reach your basketball goals, let's have a conversation. Feel free to email me at l@hoopsthroughlife.com today to set that up. That's EL@HOOPSTHROUGHLIFE.com. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.